Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another End Challenge. Eddie said out like he wanted to say something there for a moment.
Nah, 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 nah.
I couldn't agree more. Well, it seems to become tradition now that we can't film these send-offs on time. But you know, the deal is the year of the Mammoth send-off, and hopefully, Eddie, I hope that you remembered to have the year of the Mammoth card back as your card back this time.
I remembered this time.
Alright, so, if you haven't been here the previous 2 times, the rules are simple. To send off the Year of the Mammoth, we basically build a deck that can only use cards that use sets that have rotated out. So that's Rispers of the Old Gods, One Night in Karazhan, and Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. The cards from the Basic and Classic set are welcome as always, and the cards that have joined the Hall of Fame this year are also welcome additions. So Cold Like an Oracle, Molten Giant, and Ice Block. And pretty much we hit the decks against each other and see who's the champion. I think you've won the last 2 years in a row, Eddie.
I believe so.
Well, let's try to take it away from you. Anyway, we're going to be going and we're talking about our decks, and then we're going to be facing off. Okay, so my deck, of course, is a take on Jade Druid. Really, considering the year of the Mammoth, there really could be no other choice for me. Now, of course, this isn't because of the selection of cards I have to choose from. This is not the version of Jade Druid I originally started playing, and nor is it the version I was playing near the end of the year of the Mammoth. So, with the limitations in mind that we're only looking at rotating sets and the basic and classic cards, I had to make a certain number of concessions, like to basically include cards that that replace cards that were not part of those sets. Now, funny enough, most of the backbone of my deck actually remained the same. I always ran a few key choices that were always different than any other Jade deck. Mostly, it's the Lotus Agents and the Yogg Arcane Giant combo. I played Yogg in my Jade Druid deck even before it was popular. Other than that, Moonglade Portal for some healing, and I'm running Naturalize, Innervate. All this, like, the main backbone of the deck kind of stayed the same, and so I just had to make a few changes to get it up and running. Now, I would hope that maybe Eddie picked something different to basically show a little bit more variety. However, Eddie liked the Jade deck as much as I did, so there's every bit of chance that he's playing Jade Druid as well, so this could be a mirror match. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Alright, what's up? It's Ed. And if anything, I full on expect this to be a dual Jade Druid matchup. Now, if anything, Bob might try and throw a curveball my way with it. So, I'm gonna be at least a little bit prepared for the curveball. But, if anything, as you can see, here is my list of what we were able to designate it from the Mean Streets and back. I know, if anything, I'm excited. If Bob decides to throw a curveball at me, cool. If not, well, you guys are in for a Jade Druid off. If anything, I enjoy putting in my double Pharaoh Rage, Kun the Forgotten King, because he's a nice solid 10-drop, refresh those mana crystals back, and then just start going back to town. Before Innervate over here got nerfed and tattooed to the floor, we had the Gadgetzan Auctioneer Innervate and to start drawing cards left, right, and center combo. We don't have that anymore, and if anything in this matchup we don't have a Skulking Geist, thankfully. So if anything right now, when it comes to the Jade Druid matchup, if it's actually a mirror, it's going to be who can put out the biggest dudes the fastest, or who can ramp up the hardest and get their armor up there. So, we'll see how this goes. And so from here on, we go on to the matchup.
I had a feeling it'd come down to this one.
Oh, of course. Why would I bring something else to the table?
That's kind of what I said.
Nature
It's
must
also why I said I almost have a feeling we might have to do another go around later on the year of going. Okay, let's not bring this deck to the table.
Well, if anything, it was more or less me going, I'm like, alright, well, Bob could throw a curveball my way, or it could just be us trying to see who can make the biggest decision fastest.
Yep. And no Skulking Geist either.
Yeah, I made mention of that one.
It's the classic battle. Dudes! I remember. Come on. Alright. So far you have the advantage mainly because you went first. Boop. Skadoopadoop. What do now? It's like normally I would be talking our, you and I would be talking about our choices, but we can't really do that to give, or else we give it away.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this is more a classic Jade Druid, so it's not so much about ramping up as much as it is making sure your cards are good.
Not as much about ramping up as it's seeing how many dudes we can get on the board.
the land serves me.
Boop.
No, just two! Stop, you alright.
Behold the rage of the fireland.
Boop.
Feel my wrath.
And it's Druid. Druids have a harder time with board control.
Mm-hmm.
Your magic shall not save you.
Nice.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Nothing
Of course, I'll draw that right after you silence my dude.
Yup.
Yup.
I wonder.
Classic Jade Druid doesn't have as many of the options for survivability and ramp and long range play as you got later.
Oh, yeah.
Which means this is a lot more of a threat, and there's not as much you can do about it.
I don't know where. I'm just sitting here trying to think of all my move over.
I think the one advantage you have is you kind of know how my Jade Druid decks have consistently worked, so you can at least anticipate what kind of cards I'm running.
Behold the rage
Well, that's an issue.
Go with that one.
You are no fun.
That's definitely a thing I need to... Do I want to use that now? Not really.
Silence in all things.
That would be stupid. I will take that though.
for the wild. Nothing but
So far though, my choices of what I want to use it on aren't that great. Although, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, second Feral Rage. What possible cards and uses can I use on that right now? My two top choices are dead.
what to do.
I think I hold it.
For the wild.
I'll hold that for next turn because I'll be more used then. I think I would use those on the...
The 100 Kings will rise.
Oh, heck no.
Oh, heck yeah, my good friend. Man, I should have the other side there, but... C'est la vie.
Alright, so what do we have choice-wise?
We hunger for vengeance.
For the wild.
Alright. Let's get nourished. Right.
For the wild.
That may have not helped me, but it was as good a choice as any.
Silence
If you get something while here. I'm just gonna push this.
For the wild.
Okay. Where does that put me in the grand scheme of things, though? Wait a minute! Hold up! Challenge negated.
Why?
Earth and Scales.
Hang on, what?
Earth and Scales is an illegal card.
Hold up. Let me double check. That come from Journey to Angoro?
Came from Journey to Angoro.
I will be damned.
Time waits for no one.
I don't know whether we call that a forfeiture or...
That is a major, major screw up on my part. Because if anything, normally I keep track of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That, if anything, because of my own screw up, I will give that a forfeiture because that is my own fault. Did you play yours? I'm playing mine just because. For the video.
By the way, I got a Splinter craft from the earlier Lotus Agents. I was trying to find a good minion to play it on. I was going to play it on my Jade Behemoth. Give myself a 10 cost 10/10 Jade Behemoth.
In true Yogg fashion, he does what he's supposed to do. Well, if anything, I do have to concede that because I screwed up.
Like, I stopped and like, wait a minute.
That's why I was like, wait a minute, hang on. Oh,
It's like, I
my
didn't have
God.
access to that armor gain. I actually had to include, I included the portal just so that I could have some healing.
Like I said, if anything, that was my screw up.
Well, we will do a part 2 challenge later on in the year, which will basically be no Jade Druid. So you'll get a chance to try to redeem yourself later.
I will redeem myself in my own stupidity, damn it.
Alright. I won?
Question mark to be continued later on down the road.
I mean, it's one of those things, I think I kind of had that game in hand anyway, so...
I was coming back on you, if anything, even like...
Oh, I had my Jade Behemoth, and then if that Jade Behemoth would have lived, I would have Splinter Grafted it. So I would have a 10 cost 10/10 Jade Behemoth in my hand, and then I would have played that on the on the following turn. So 3 turns worth, and then you just have this 10-10 that summons another Jade, and the 10-10 has taunt and just looks at you.
Well, if anything, I did get a Cenarius from Yogg because of hallucination. And so, if anything, I also had in my hand, Farsight pulled me the Mana Crystal generator. Can't think of it. Wild Growth. And I also had a second Gadgetzan Auctioneer. So, it'd been one of those things to where I'd have just been ramping into more Jade dudes.
Yeah, but without that armor, it would have been just easier for me to just finish you off.
I messed up on my own deck challenge with my deck. That should tell you how off my game I am right now.
Anyway, we'll see you. Well, whenever you. I think we'll probably.
We'll see you when we see you for the active second challenge on this
I think
one.
we'll schedule like for June or July or something like that.
I would say shoot for July because, well, personal life stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.